Shall we? All right. Well, welcome back from lunch. Hope everyone got a chance to go with the quick grab or with the hot lunch. Looks like seeing some nodding heads over here. So next on our speaking panel, we've got Lee Rosenberg. And by way of quick introduction, Lee has an incredible accomplishment on his resume that really jumped out at me. He held an unlimited warrant. So are people familiar? I'm seeing some nodding heads over here. Man, are you familiar with what an unlimited warrant is? So basically, this gentleman was able to obligate the US government for as much money as he wanted to. I mean, it's pretty startling. That's an incredible amount of trust and confidence that we as the American citizens place in our government, and then the government placed in Lee. So when you have that much trust and confidence in the federal government to commit it to an unlimited amount of money, he clearly knows his stuff, he clearly has the experience, knows the regulations, and now has the distinction of working at the Missile Defense Agency, which storied history coming out of World War II, the scientific efforts, and coming into the space race, the missile defeat technologies in the 80s, incredible technological history, but also an incredible history of acquisition innovation and really being forward-leaning in the engagement with the small innovative community. So as small business representatives, really excited to hear what he's going to share with us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. So a little bit more on my resume, just to tell you where I come from. I spent 21 years in the Army, part of which I was a procuring contracting officer, where I had that warrant. Had a rather eclectic career in the Army. Did interoperability stuff on IT systems with what is now DISA. Spent time as the acquisition advisor to the Department of the Army Inspector General. Wrote policy for acquisition reform for the Army. And that was all while I was wearing a uniform. Retired after 21 years, 3 months and 27 days, but who's counting? And then I started working for contractors. So I was kind of on your side of the fence. In fact, I'm probably one of the only one of my ilk that's actually put together a proposal against the government RFP. I have the scars to prove it too. So when I talk to you today, well, I came into the agency actually as a contractor and then got hired about 6 months back into the government service. And I've been doing that ever since. And now I'm the director of small business programs. And I'll show you a little bit about our mission. But what I want to get across to you today is peppered throughout my presentation, there are going to be some tips about marketing to government. And I tell you, I've got many degrees from the School of Hard Knocks when it comes to marketing to government activities from my contractor days. So what I'm telling you is born not only of what I experience myself, but also what I see every day when people come in and try to market to me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'm going to try to point out some things that may help you down the road, whether you're marketing the Missile Defense Agency or another DoD activity or some other civilian agency out there. Because what you'll find out in marketing is no one size fits all works. Okay, you got to tailor it, and I'll show you, give you some tips on that. Can everybody see that okay? What amazes me, and here's your first tip. What amazes me is when people come in and talk to me, and I usually spend about an hour with small businesses if they want to. When they come in and talk to me, the first question I ask them is, what's the mission of the Missile Defense Agency? And I get these broad stares. And I start talking about, well, you know, you want to do business with my activity, you don't even know what my mission is. You don't even know what we're all about. But yeah, you want to do business. Now, back in the good old days, and I'll elaborate on this a little more, but back in the good old days when I first started out, you know, they issued me my stone tablet and chisel and started doing contracting. When I wanted to find out something about somebody, I had to go to the local library or the library we had, the activity of that, pull out those big green Thomas Register books and look up stuff, okay? But nowadays, you have this little thing called the internet. And there isn't a government activity out there that I know of that doesn't have a website. So your second key point is do your homework, but we'll get to more of that. But this is the mission of the Missile Defense Agency. And as you see, it's a worldwide mission. We're there to defend the homeland. That's all of us, and all the malls and churches and schools and everything else that's out there. Plus our deployed forces, and Lord knows we got people all over the place, and our friends and allies from ballistic missiles of all ranges and types in all phases of their flight. You know, a missile gets launched, that's one phase. It goes up, it coasts for a while, that's another phase called mid-course. And then it pops out nasty stuff that hones in on a target. And that's another course, that's called the terminal part. And we have systems that try to address all those, whether it's tracking that missile or actually shooting another missile at it to destroy it. How many of y'all saw the news last week when we launched a big silo-based missile to shoot down an intercontinental missile? It was a test target that we did very successfully, by the way. That's what we do for a living. We have all different sizes of interceptors that we shoot at missiles depending on what the range and the size of the missile is. And we have a global command and control system. It's kind of the glue that allows all those systems and all the sensors that are a part of that system to interoperate together so that we can do essentially hit a bullet with a bullet. And that's what we do. You have an incoming missile flying at supersonic speeds. We shoot another missile at flying at supersonic speed, and they meet, and we hit that missile at a certain point on that missile, and everything is done by kinetic energy. We don't shoot anything up that goes boom. It just collides, and you know anything about physics, at those speeds, kinetic energy just vaporizes everything. And that's how we do our business. So imagine the technology that we need to detect and track a launch of a ballistic missile halfway around the world, track it all the way through its flight, shoot another missile at it, guide that missile towards it, and intercept it, a lot of times what they call in engineer speak exo-atmospherically. You and I call that space, okay? But think about the technology it takes to do all that and all the stuff that goes with that. Plus, then you overlay on top of that the management of the agency and helping us oversee all the many, many contractors, both large and small, that participate to help us develop that technology, produce it, field it, and sustain it. This is the mission of my office and the vision that we have. And the key words in that vision are value added. See, we're not just a person that checks a box to see whether folks out there are considering small business. We actively participate. Each one of the folks that works for me has a portfolio of programs that they support. They're on the acquisition teams on all those programs. They're out there from the very beginning of market research all the way through development of the acquisition strategy, through the development of the RFP. We often write the small business language in our RFPs. We often participate on source selections. And then finally, after the contract's awarded, we track and make sure that contractors are doing what they said they were going to do. And we're involved all the way through. As a matter of fact, I sit as a voting member on every acquisition strategy panel and board. So small business has a seat at the table in all the decision making that goes on. But we're not just there with a clipboard checking stuff. We're down there in the weeds, getting our hands dirty along with all the other acquisition planners as part of those teams, so that we make sure that to the best extent possible, we are going after the innovation and the flexibility and the capabilities of the small business community out there to expand as much as we can that small business industrial base supporting the agency. We couldn't do our business without a lot of small businesses. So I'm kind of dumb guy, so I got to put things in simple perspective. So when I look at the marketplace of MDA for small businesses, I see four major markets. The largest single market that we have, which is almost exclusively a subcontracting marketplace, is supporting all the large prime weapon system developers that we have in developing, engineering, and then producing and manufacturing, and then fielding and sustaining all the systems, all the sensor systems and radars and interceptor rockets and targets that we build to test. All that is done primarily by large weapon system developers, the usual suspects in DoD: Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Orbital Sciences, ATK, L3 Coleman, some of those companies. And so if you're in the market of manufacturing or even some engineering support services, you might want to talk to those guys, and up at our table we have contacts for all those companies that are our major prime contractor. But that is the largest single marketplace. You see, you have to understand that that market encompasses, in any given year, and it'll fluctuate a little bit, about 80% of the money we spend goes to 6 or 7 contractors. But when you drill down into what they do with that money, you find that a significant portion, almost a third of it, ends up in the pocket of a small business somewhere in that supporting supply chain. And that's big bucks, okay? We're talking in the neighborhood of 4 or 5 billion a year. So that's a marketplace. If you're into manufacturing, that's where you want to go. The second largest marketplace we have is for all of our advisory and assistance services. These are the professional services that we contract for that help support our folks in the agency in developing large acquisition strategies or architectures or requirements for all those systems that we pass to that first marketplace. We do that all under a program called Teams. We don't use GSA schedules. We don't go to other big contracts out there in the government. We do it all in-house. And it's all in our Teams program. And I'll show you some stuff. Most of that has just been recently awarded over the last year and a half. There are still a few coming out. But some of the support we get, one of the things that's coming out I'll show you, is the support to our CIO's office. So if you're in IT and you advise and assist, this is not implementation. This is what should we be doing? What should our architecture look like? What are the requirements that we want to pass to some implementer to implement? Okay? That's coming out here pretty soon. It's a small business set aside. So there's other ones coming out, and I'll point them out. We also have the 4th largest SBIR and STTR program in the Department of Defense, which I believe makes us about the 5th largest in the government. I think this year we're spending upwards of $90 million on Phase 1 and Phase 2s. The solicitation is open right now. We have 15 topics on that solicitation. If you're interested in technology development, you should go to the DoD website for SBIR, look at that open solicitation, and you'll see the Missile Defense Annex, and it's got all our topics in there, along with any special instructions that we might have. And then finally, we're a large defense agency located in multiple locations. Primarily, we are headquartered at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. We have our Navy programs down in Dahlgren, Virginia. The bulk of the agency is located where I'm at in Huntsville, Alabama, and then we have a big Missile Defense Integration and Operations Center at Schriever Air Force Base out in Colorado Springs. And then we have other things like Fort Greely, Alaska. We have a bunch of interceptors in Vandenberg Air Force Base and a couple other places. So, depending on what you do in infrastructure support, we have to maintain all the buildings that we have. We have to buy furniture. We have to get IT support and all the normal things, fix leaks in the roof and whatever. But all the normal thing that any large organization across multiple places needs to do to support its workforce in doing their job. Okay? Any questions about that? Don't all rush at once now. Form a line. Yeah. Okay. So, what are some of the upcoming requirements? I'm going to use a cheat sheet here, a couple of cheat sheets. oftentimes when we do market research, we put out RFIs or sources sought. Now, I can't emphasize enough, and here's a tip for you guys. If you really want to influence acquisition strategies, don't wait till the RFP comes out. Respond to the RFIs and sources sought. And here's another tip for you. Don't be shy out there. Get all your competitors to respond too. Because guess what? If I get enough capable small businesses in a particular socioeconomic category, I can set stuff aside. But if I get bupkis, nobody responds except the big guys, guess what? It goes out full and open. And I got people coming in the office crying, how come you didn't say so? How come you didn't? I said, did you respond to the RFI? Well, no, I was waiting on the RFP. Well, you get what you live with. Responding to sources sought and RFIs often gives you a direct opportunity to influence acquisition strategies that people come out with. And that's across the government. But if you sit back and wait for the RFP, then you get what you get whenever it comes out in. So I would encourage you, because we use these RFIs and RFPs, sources sought, quite often in our market research. Now, we ask specific information on it. Don't send me marketing literature and brochure with, the president of the company cutting the ribbon on the new building. I don't care about that. I want to know your specific capabilities against what we ask for. So please answer the mail. And if you got space left over and you want to put the picture of the president cutting, that's fine too. But understand that we're looking for specific capabilities when we put these things out, and you need to respond accordingly and let us know what your capabilities are around those requirements. So these are some of the RFIs that are out there that either have closed recently or have been out there. And what this does for you is it gives you an eye into the future. Hey, you know what? There's going to be an RFP down the road, most probably, sometime, and I need to be looking for it. I need to put that up on my radar screen because they just put out an RFI and I just responded to it. Now, are you going to get an answer back on your response? The answer is no. But at least you know now what the requirements are kind of going to be, because we ask a lot of questions of your capability. You have a chance to influence that acquisition strategy because you responded and you got all your buddies to respond to. And so you're guided up on your radar screen, you're waiting, and you're watching. And you're contacting my office, all right? You're telling me about your capabilities, and you're asking, hey, are they going to put out an RFP, or what's going on, or whatever? Okay? But at least it gives you something to watch for and target versus just throwing everything up on the wall to see what sticks out there in your marketing efforts. Because I know as a small business, you guys got unlimited resources. I mean, you got all the time in the world, and you can just monitor everything that's out there that goes on in the federal government and find those things. This is a good way to parse through and see what's coming down the road, all right, and what's going on. So some of the things that we have up there. Oh, did I hit it by accident? Okay. Sorry about that. So some of the things that are coming down the road, we just put out an RFI. I think it's still open for looking for capabilities to build a radar in Hawaii. Yeah, it's rough duty, I know. On Kauai, no less, one of those rough spots. But hey, somebody's got to do it, right? Okay, so we're looking to get capability about that. One that you should be very interested in if you're in the IT world or database management. We have a supercomputing center we call the Advanced Research Center, or ARC. That actually is going to be coming out probably early next year. It's always been a small business set aside, but who knows, based on the RFIs and the market research we do, here into the future, it might be a socioeconomic set aside this time. Don't know. But they're going to be they're having an industry day. There's an RFI out there that talks about how to register for that. So if you're into that line of work, supercomputing centers and managing those things, it's part of our test program. A lot of test activity that goes on there with ground testing and modeling and simulation. And you can imagine if it's a supercomputing center, we're doing some pretty high fidelity modeling and simulation. Our Theater High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD system, that's the thing we just deployed in South Korea that everybody's all upset about in China, and Russia and everybody else. They're looking for some capabilities for future development efforts. We're not static in the agency. We don't just develop a missile. We continually upgrade things. So if you got a better way of building a mousetrap, you're in technology development, hey, we're looking for those ideas. Part of them come through your capabilities to do this on some of our major systems. And maybe that's something that we say, there's such good capability out there in small business. Maybe we'll take that away from Lockheed, who has it now sole source, and break it out. But if we don't get any responses to our RFIs, well, what can I tell you? We had 2 out there for 2 teams acquisitions that are coming up. One to support our protocol office. We were looking for capabilities for that. Let me take it out of my pot. Hold on. I don't know why it keeps doing it. No, I got it.
You good?
Yeah. So one that protocols, one to support our protocol office. Not a real giant contract. Well, it might be for some folks. Good one for smaller small businesses to go after. And then we have one to support our public affairs office. Again, another smaller one that smaller businesses might want to go after. Okay, but we were looking for capability out there. So there's those that are coming out. They'll be coming out down the road. Our ground-based mid-course defense system, that's that large missile you saw launched last week out of the silo. Well, they're coming out. Right now that program is run by Boeing. But they're breaking that program up into 3 separate acquisitions now. And there'll be a lot of opportunities out there for small businesses to participate as subcontractors, probably, since we're talking about multi-billion-dollar contracts. But some of that's coming out, and they had some RFIs that were out there on that. We have the Advanced Threat Missile System. That, again, is technology development. If you got a better way of building a mousetrap against advanced technology and you got clearances, because in order to get some of the information to respond to that, you're going to have security clearances and all that kind of stuff. But you got a better way of building the mousetrap on that one. Yes, sir. Okay. If you want to do business with us, you pretty much got to have a secret clearance. And the reason is kind of simple, particularly on the Teams program. Because folks work in our facilities. In order to get unfettered access without escorts into our facilities, you have to have a secret clearance. In fact, our janitors all have secret clearances. So that's important. Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. Do you have a facilities clearance for your company? Well, you should be okay. I don't think that expires. All right? I mean, as long as you maintain all the NISPOM requirements and everything. All right? Yeah, I'm not an expert in that, by the way. You can tell, right? Okay. But it's a lot easier if you have a facilities clearance than if you're just coming in. If you're just coming in to the DoD marketplace, it's kind of a chicken-egg thing, you know? You have to have a clearance to get the contract, but you have to have a contract to get your clearance. So the best way to get around that, unless you're in anybody deal with the intelligence community? Okay, if you don't deal with the intelligence community, the best way to get it is to come in as a subcontractor, which is also a good start in breaking into any new market. Come in as a subcontractor, get your prime to sponsor you to get your company a facilities clearance. Once you get that facilities clearance, then you're able to clear your own employees. And it makes it a lot easier. Okay? All right, and the last one, we were looking for some ideas about space architecture. You know, we actually have 2 satellites flying right now, and we're putting up some more little ones up there, and we're looking into the future to do more in space, because that's where we do a lot of our businesses, in space. We intercept in space a lot. And space brings with it some great advantages, you know, the ultimate high ground, if you will. And so when you're tracking things that are coming halfway around the world, it makes it a lot easier if you can do it from space as opposed to on the ground where you got to keep handing off different things to different people. So we're going to be doing more in space into the future. And we're looking for that kind of capability. Is it high tech? Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one, which is the current stuff that's out there. Okay. What's coming up? So, I mentioned our TEAMS program, stands for Technical Engineering Management, Technical Engineering Acquisition and Management, okay, support or services. I mentioned the protocol one that'll be coming out down the road here in a little bit. I mentioned the public affairs one. We have one for human resources, which is going to be human resources and training support. And we don't do a lot of internal training as far as training development. We send our people, you know, engineers, they want to go to this conference or they want to go to this university to get updated or whatever. But we do some softer skills training in-house, you know, leadership and that sort of stuff. That comes all under that human resources one, as well as helping us manage all the resources that we have that are civilian and military, government, civilian, and military workforce. Okay. The one that I was talking about that supports our CIO office is that last one, IT management and analysis. It's a small business set aside. Be coming out very soon. There's a draft posted up on FedBizOps right now. So if you do that kind of stuff, that might be one you want to look at. Now remember, if you're doing team stuff, you're on the government side of the fence, which means you won't be able to participate in the IT contracts that we have coming out. They'll be implementing this stuff because you'll be developing the requirements or helping us develop. So you got to watch out for organizational conflict of interest, or OCI. You know, and pick which side of the fence you want to be on. You want to support the government, or do you want to be out there where the doers are, as I like to say. And both of them are lucrative markets. Not one's better than the other. It's basically what fits your business the best. Okay? Where do you have your skills that best can be used? We have 2 modeling and simulation contracts. This is for the development of models and simulations. One is full and open, and because of the responses we got when we sent out the RFI last year, we were able to break out and set aside some for small business. Those will be coming out probably later this summer. We have a radar test contract out there right now. And what's interesting about what we're doing on our larger contracts, that's a full and open contract. But what we've done on that one and several others is we've put in small business language to incentivize small business utilization in specific targeted areas to grow capability for small businesses. So that next time down the road, we could be able to break it out. In this case, we put some pretty significant money against the incentive. So whatever contractor gets it, whether it's a large or small contractor, quite frankly, probably going to be a large contractor, they're going to be incentivized to develop certain targeted small business capability in this test program. So like I said, next time around, we might be able to set some or all of it aside for small business. And that's kind of what we're doing on all of our larger contracts, most of our full and open. Because my folks have been participating for quite some time on those acquisition teams, we've convinced program offices that it's worthwhile to put up some money for incentives to grow small business capability because they see the value in it down the road. So even though you don't think you can prime a contract, don't shy away from that subcontracting opportunity that might be out there. Particularly where we're incentivizing and you have a certain capability to grow a specific, even more, some specific capabilities to support us by taking advantage of some of those incentives that are out there or have the primes take advantage of it. Yes, ma'am. Okay, best practices in what now again? Okay, tell you what, can I table that and I get to a slide and we'll talk about that in a minute, okay? Let's see, what else we got up here? We've got the boost vehicle for the ground base. Anybody make rockets in here? Yeah, I didn't think so. Not too many people out there make rockets. But some people might make components of rockets. And we've got this new boost vehicle out there that you might want to partner up with somebody who makes rockets or somebody that they subcontract to. Maybe you can be down, if you're in manufacturing. You don't have to be at the first tier or the second tier of subcontracting. Maybe there's opportunities, depending on what you make, down in the lower tiers. There's one for boost end, the front end of our targets, let me put it that way. You're going to have security clearances, in some cases pretty high ones, to be able to participate, but if you've got those, there's another opportunity we have that's open right now that you can partner up with somebody, or if you've got the capability to make them yourself, great. It's a rather unique field, not a lot of people in it because of the nature of it, but we try to make threat representative targets, which is mostly the front end of the target and what it does while it's in flight. And most of that is all classified, so you have to have those kind of clearances to be able to participate in that. The last one, well, you're stealing all my good thunder. So we have two main IT contracts that support the agency. The front end stuff, I like to call it, because again, you got to remember I'm a simple mind, which is all of our portal work in a SharePoint environment and all our video teleconferencing services. And by the way, as an aside, we're the largest user of video teleconferencing in the whole Department of Defense. There's hardly a day that goes by I'm not in the office, I'm not on a VTC to somebody. Every one of our conference rooms, hundreds of them, are outfitted with both classified and unclassified video teleconferencing. And we frankly couldn't exist without it. It's just ubiquitous across the agency, and heck, we just use it day in, day out like it's just another tool. Nobody gets, and we have very good support. That's a small business set aside. In fact, that's a service disabled bet set aside. So if you are one and you're in that business, there's a great opportunity to prime. And if you're not one, but you're in IT, you can maybe partner up with one and come in. That just opened. That RFP was just posted this morning. And so there you go. Get it on the ground floor. I've mentioned about the SBIR stuff already. We also, if you don't find a topic in SBIR, we have a standing broad agency announcement that has a number of topics in it that you could frankly drive a Mack truck through, so you could probably find something that would fit whatever your white paper might want to tell us. And if we like it, we can award the contract directly off of that BAA. And we're awarding more nowadays than we have in a long time. So there's that. Any questions on our current stuff? And then you ask about subcontract. I'll give you some opportunities up here. These are contracts that we've awarded, most of them sole source. It shows you who they are and what they do. Most of them are going to be looking for engineering or manufacturing services. So if you're in that line of work, we have points of contacts in all these companies that we can give you that speak missile defense. They're small business liaison officers in those companies. They know what their companies are doing for us, and they can help you navigate how to do business with them. Okay. Any questions on anything? Oh, I didn't get to change the slide, did I? There you go. Now you guys all wonder what I'm talking about. Crazy, right? Okay. I'll leave that up there for a minute. I'm assuming these slides are available to anybody after this. I don't know how they get them, but see the gentleman in the back, he'll tell you how you can get them. Okay, there you go. See, those SBDC guys are pretty good, aren't they? Huh? If you're not using them, shame on you. All right. So let's talk a little bit about marketing, and I'll get hopefully to your question. Again, this is not just what I see day in, day out, but also a few tips I've learned along the way. First of all, if you're going to do any business with the government, you got to be in SAMs. Now, you'd be amazed at how many times when somebody wants to come in, my admin assistant, she always searches SAMs, pulls all the information. She'll go in there and she won't find somebody. You know why that is? 99% of the time it's because you may call yourself something. You may have a different name on your full name on your card. And if it's not specific, if you search on a name and it's not exactly the way it's in SAM, it won't come up. Your best way around that, and here's a tip. How many of y'all have a business card? Okay. Pull out your business card for a minute. Pull out your business card. I'll even pull out mine. There's my business card. Got all the standard stuff on it, my telephone number, all that stuff. If I was a small business out there, turn your card over. What do you have on the back? If it's white or just the color of the card and nothing, you got wasted space. There's a lot of information that could be on the back of that card that could talk about your company, like things like your DUNS number. Because no matter what name I search on, if I put the right DUNS number in there, it'll come up every time as long as you're registered in SAMS. So when you're marketing to the government, everybody's going to check you out in SAMS at some point one way or another. Make sure that in your literature, your marketing literature, your DUNS number's in there. And here's a good little marketing literature for you, right? Now, you know what I got on the back of mine? What's that look like? Y'all see? A QR code. Well, guess what? We're in the digital age, right? Now, lest you think I came up with that, I didn't know. I had a millennial working for me. He'd come in one day and say, let's put all that information on a QR code and put it on the back of the card. And I said, what's a QR code? And then he helped me download the reader onto my, I'm old. Just live with it, okay? But anyway, these are kind of ideas that make your customers easier to get to you, right? So think about that. And make sure that your company is up to date in SAMS, that your certifications are up to date. Here's another one. I can't tell you how many people I go into, and we'll pull a small business SBS. I'm losing it here. Small business directory. Yeah. We'll pull that report too, and I'll see on there that says, well, they're an 8A company and they're still active and they're certified as an 8A company by SBA, and then I'll go look in their SAMs and they don't have SDB checked. I'm scratching my head. Going, well, wait a minute, what's wrong with that picture? Okay? So make sure that your certifications are accurate and up to date. They're used for a lot of important reasons, okay? Particularly market research, too. So make sure they're accurate. Okay, next thing. Register in our directory. That's the website right there. We can show you exactly how to do that and everything down at our table. We've got some information on that. But we do a lot of market research to that. Plus, based on the NAICS code you register in our directory, we send you a little email tickler when we post something on FedBizOps. So, hey, you might be interested in this. We also make general announcements like our small business conference that's coming up the 21st and 22nd of June in Huntsville. We'll tell you how to register and all that kind of stuff. And we have all that information, by the way, upstairs if you want it. Huntsville, second largest federal marketplace outside the National Capital Region. What? Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, a lot of information. A lot of programs will be talking. Like the ARC program manager, he'll be there talking about that Advanced Research Center thing coming up. But anyway, we put out a lot of information on out of the directory. But if you're not registered in it, can't do anything about it. I think I mentioned about that. You'd be amazed, though. Oh, I do IT. Oh, really? Well, what do you do in IT? Well, I manage IT facilities. Oh, yeah? Well, how come you got 541, 511 down here? That's not IT facilities management or something else. Now, the one thing you want to avoid is putting down 3,000 NAICS codes. Okay? That doesn't do you any good either. Doesn't say much about your company. Make sure whatever you put down in NAICS codes that you really operate in. Now, if you want to move into a new area, my suggestion to you is try the subcontracting route first. Get yourself established in a market before you start going after prime stuff. But if you're established, make sure that NAICS code's on your literature. So that when we do market research, when we search our database or whatever else, you pop up as being someone that possibly is capable of doing that. Now, here's a tip that most people overlook. Now, everybody wants to go in and talk to the CIO, right? Because I'm in IT, I want to talk to the CIO. Well, you know, most CIOs, they have nothing to do all day except wait for you to come in the office, right? They're always available. They're underutilized, they're bored, they're waiting for you to call up and they're, yeah, here, come on down, tell me about your IT, right? Right. Your best place to start to learn about a market that you want to move into in the government is the Cognizant Small Business Office that covers that activity. You can usually find that on everybody's website. Okay? Go in there, talk to them. Like I said, I'll spend up to an hour talking to you if you want to know your specific market in the agency. Just call my admin assistant, get on the calendar. I meet with 5 to 6 a week. Okay, either in the office or on the phone. And we talk specifically about where and how you can do business with us. Now, are all small business offices the same? No. Some are good, some are not so good, unfortunately. I will tell you, the Department of Defense is professionalizing the workforce. We have a new small business career field. We have Defense Acquisition University courses up and running and certification requirements that everybody's got to get over the next couple of years. And usually how DOD goes down the road, probably the rest of the government will follow. But we're training our folks on how to be best responsive to you guys and their agencies in increasing small business utilization. So when you go into those places, you should be asking them, well, how do you go about getting whatever it is you're selling or whatever service you're providing? And they should be able to tell you how they go back in it. Whether they mostly go to large business or small business, whether, it's coming up or it's just awarded and it won't be up for the next 5 years or whatever. Who to talk to. What are the landmines? What not to say? How to market to them. What's the best way? Do they like paper? Do they want you to send you electrons? The small business people that you talk to should be able to tell you how to do business within that specific activity. What to do and not do. Because you can go around wasting your time. You can send emails and requests for meetings to hundreds and hundreds of folks in an activity. And you might get a response that usually says thanks but no thanks. You might not even get a response, but you're going to waste a lot of time and effort, spin a lot of wheels for nothing. They should be able to help you target your marketing. And that's critical, targeting your marketing. Again, no one size fits all. It's interesting. I see a lot of people come into the office, they want to market to the agency. So I get the standard brochure. I'm XYZ company and I do this, that, and the other. And I did this for, I worked on the Gazinta system for Department of Interior, and I worked on the gizmo system for the, Federal Aviation Administration. And I'm looking at that stuff going, really? Okay, that sounds good. So what? What's that mean to me? Now, think about this. You want to come see good old Rosenberg here. So you pull in the parking lot, and you park in the North 40 way, far away, because that's the only place you're going to find a parking place. Say, what can I tell you? And you're sitting there, and you got your laptop out, or your tablet, and you got your basic marketing brochure on that tablet. And now you're going to go to my website, you're going to look all this stuff up, you're going to look at my mission, you're going to look at the language that I'm using in my website. All right? And then you're going to start tailoring that brochure on your tablet. You're still sitting in the car, air conditioning's going, because it gets pretty hot in Alabama, so you're sitting there. You got to watch your temperature gauge, you don't want to go too high. But you're sitting there, so you do that, and you pull down an MDA logo and you stick it on that brochure. Ooh, up in the upper right-hand corner, maybe. You got your little logo for your company, upper left-hand corner. And you start talking about all this stuff. Now, it's basically the same stuff you're talking to my neighbor down the road in the Army about, but you've tailored it with certain language that's going to resonate with me. And then, when you get it all done, you plug in that, everybody has a USB port in their car now, but if you don't, in the old cigarette lighter thing, you plug in that little portable printer, and you push a button, and zap, out comes that marketing list you're going to hand me. And then when you go down the street and you talk to my friends over at Army Material Command, you change it around a little bit because you've done the same thing over there. All right? And you tailor your marketing literature. Believe me, that's a differentiator from all the hundreds of people that come in and see me and hand me standard stuff. Now, in the good old days, I know how it was. You used to have to go down to Kinko's. Remember Kinko's? And you get nice 500 glossy things of the same thing printed up because that's the only way you could do it. But hey, we're in a different age now, right? So think about that. When you're sending, it's even better when we want to read ahead like we always ask for. You tailor it and you email it to us. And I got it right there and I go, wow, because I look at that stuff. I really do look at it before you come in. Surprise. So anyway. So do your homework. You got to do a little upfront legwork. Like I said, everybody has a web page. Go in there and target the market. If you go in there, and I've had this happen before. So what do you do? Well, what do you want me to do? Whoa, we have a Marketing 101 class starts right there. Throwing stuff up on the wall to see what sticks just ain't going to cut it in government marketing, okay? So check out people's websites. Check out what they do. Check out their mission. See what you can do to marry up what you do and your capabilities with what they're looking for or what they might be looking for. And then go in and talk to that small business person to refine that message. Because differentiators count. Okay? How many are in the IT? You know, that's the most flooded marketplace in the government. I mean, of the 100 people I'll see, probably 95 of them are IT or IT related. So what makes you different than the 20 other people standing in the hallway waiting to see me to do IT? You know, and I love it when people go, well, what do you do? Oh, I do IT. Oh, really? Well, you do network management, you do help desk, you know, what kind of IT system? Are you mostly in Linux? Are you mostly in, you know, whatever else is out there, SharePoint environment, whatever? What do you do? Be more specific and ask about what kinds of stuff we need, because we may not always need stuff that you're offering at this particular time. Here's, well, don't try to be everything to everybody. You know, you've got really great talent in certain areas. All right? Trade on your talents. You want to move to another area, fine, but I'd suggest you do it maybe as a subcontracting route, okay? Under promise and over deliver. That's always a good one, right? Oh, you run a global command and control system? Well, I can do that. Well, yeah, what's your experience? Well, I ran a database operation for, Department of Agriculture over here in one of their field offices. Oh, okay, so you're well qualified to run a global command and control system. I see that. All right, so really, under promise, over deliver. Okay, here's a tip for you. First of all, let me ask a question. What is your number one marketing tool in the federal government marketplace? What's your number one marketing tool? Anybody know? I'm sorry? Wrong. Anybody other? Come on. Don't all rush at once. Again, form a line. Your website? Wrong. What's your number one market? Wrong. All right. Oh, yes. No, wrong. Well, I'm going to ask a contractor in the room. Oh, yes, ma'am. No. Yes. Nope. Oh, Mr. Contractor, you, the anonymous one sitting back over here. I don't know you, right? But what's the number one marketing tool? Tell these people. This is what you get from buying from the lowest bidder, okay? I'm just going to tell you. What can I say? Yeah. Your number one marketing tool, make sure you underline this, your number one marketing tool in the federal government marketplace is the proposal you put in against a government RFP. That's the only thing that's going to get you a contract. I don't care how much you glad hand people, you talk about your capability, you have meetings with folks, you smile a lot, you take a shower every day, whatever. Your number one marketing tool is the proposal you put in. And yet, you would be surprised at some of the proposals. And one of the biggest areas that really gets me is past performance. You see, past performance is important. It's almost always an evaluation criteria. But people assume a lot in past performance. Just because you did that gizmo thing over here with Department of Interior, you can't expect the evaluator who's reading that in your proposal to connect the dots on the relevancy of what you did over here with what they need over here. You do that for them. You translate the relevancy of your past performance to what they need. Don't expect that customer to do it, whether you're talking to them just in a general marketing sense or whether you are actually putting it in your proposal. Because if you don't, those people that are looking at it, they're reading it, they're going to do one of two things. If they don't understand what you're saying, they're just going to blow you off as irrelevant. Or they may try to make a translation, but they may miss all the great things that you bring to the table because they just don't know what you did over here. And so they're guessing. So you always be the translator, the relevancy of your past performance. I think I beat this one to death. Okay, subcontracting. Back to your question. First of all, don't discount the value of it, particularly when you want to move into a new marketplace. You're sometimes, like in our agency, we're a very high op-tempo agency. The time for a learning curve is very, very short. It's a lot easier to be out there being mentored or helped along by a prime who's worried about all the stuff, the finances and the contracting stuff and everything. And you're worried about sitting there doing a job and learning it. So don't discount that. Now you ask your question again. How do you get in with the primes? Okay, well, you ask a guy like me to give you points of contact. You research them just like you would us. They're no different. You're marketing to them. Differentiators count. They're looking for certain things. They want certain information, which they usually tell you. They may want you to register in a website They may want to interview you. You know, there's a lot of different, every one of them's different, but you got to figure out how they do it. Every one of them has a website. Every one of them will tell you, if you want to do business with us, do A, B, C, D, whatever. Okay? But you got to tailor your marketing again. All those things I talked about in coming directly to us apply to going to those large primes who you want to subcontract. You've got to make the value proposition to them why they should bring you on board, because you're either going to delight the customer, you're going to increase their profitability, you're going to lower costs for the customer, or whatever it is that you go in with. That's very, very important. If you just go in and say, "Hi, I'm here and I do IT," they're going to look at you and go, "Okay, good. Thank you very much for your support. Goodbye." Okay? So again, tailoring your marketing is very important. In DoD marketplace, if you're not concerned about cybersecurity, you're probably not going to be doing business. There are 3 new clauses that are in every DoD contract. If you get controlled unclassified information, remember here I said controlled unclassified information or controlled technical information, like drawings and things like that if you're in manufacturing. Your internal IT system is going to have to be compliant with the NIST 800-171 requirements, and you're going to have to put in some monitoring and reporting requirements. And oh, by the way, that all has to be done by December of 17. That's this year. I've got some literature upstairs on that that will help you as well. But don't wait till November to try and make sure that your internal IT systems are compliant. It's a lot involved. You may have to make some capital investments. So if you look at your IT and your backbone IT is Comcast, and you buy your computers through the mail at Dell, and you have the geeks at Best Buy come set them up because you, like me, don't know where the on-off switch is, you might want to get some help in coming in and assessing your system, making sure you're going to be compliant. I think I mentioned that one. Your number one marketing tool in the federal government is a proposal you put in against government RFP. And you would be amazed. Like, the cost volume doesn't match the technical volume. Yes, I plan on using 3 senior engineers to do this work. Okay. How come you only costed out 2 junior guys over here in the cost proposal? Oh, that was my first. I didn't, I recommend you use a red team. Everybody know what a red team is? You either get the dumbest person in your company to come look at the proposal that you put together and see if they understand it, or you get some people, some external folks, or even internal that aren't involved in it, to give you a fresh set of eyes and make sure that stuff marries up and that you're addressing all the requirements in the RFP. That's another one. You could have a great proposal, everybody's ready to award to you, except, oops, you left out this whole section about this requirement and how you're going to do it. And when you're down there in the weeds and you're rushing and you're trying to get this thing done, you're going to miss stuff. So plan the time and your effort to have a red team or somebody external look at it to see if you've covered all the bases. And if your proposals match up, your cost proposal matches your technical proposal. All your past performances are right. All the addresses for the folks that you put on your past performance sheet for, references, make sure those addresses are still correct. The phone numbers still work. You'd be amazed, okay? And you're only hurting yourself because that's your number one marketing tool. Yes, sir? I was just making a joke there. But no, you ought to get an independent set of eyes, preferably one that's experienced in government proposals, to take a look at it. Yeah. The point is, if you do it all yourself, you're going to miss stuff, I guarantee it. and that's going to be detrimental. Finally, nothing sells like great performance. If you're in the professional services arena, you know, that's what it is. That's what it's all about. Your past performance and the relationships that you build. Because, you know, in a manufacturing operation, you know, widgets coming along the lines, I can measure it with lasers and see if it meets the you know, specification. But I can't put a caliper around somebody's head and say, they're going to give me a great report, or they know what they're talking about. Okay? So, you know, great performance is something that you want to always strive for. You don't want to ever outrun your capabilities. I worked for a company one time that did that. It wasn't pleasant. Because you get the black eye of past performance, bad past performance, it stays with you a long time. You don't want to do that. Okay? Okay, some resources available. Again, the SBA website has a lot of great information. Your SBDCs and PTACs. Everybody know what a PTAC is? Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Y'all are lucky. Do you know that you have one of the best ones in the country at George Mason University up here? DOD pays these out folks, and they're all over the country. It pays them to help you do business within DOD, to find your markets. A lot of them have bid matching services they offer. Oftentimes they're free, sometimes it's a very nominal fee. Now you can pay thousands of dollars to those folks out there to do that, and they'll get it wrong. I've caught them a couple of times at conferences I've been at. Or you can get it for a nominal price. You know what I tell everybody about these, about the SBDCs and the PTACs and everything else? You pay for them every April 15th, might as well get a return on your investment. Okay? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry? They just have a really good program. They're doing it for a number of years. They have a really great program that's oriented around soup to nuts when it comes to whether it's how to get a good accounting system going, or how to put together a contract, or how to market, or how to whatever with, and how to find the right DoD activities, who's doing what. I mean, I'm familiar with them. We have one in Huntsville. It's very good too. And there's other good ones around the country. Yes, ma'am. Okay, and that may, for a longest time, when I was located up here, the George Mason one covered all of DC and everything. And I guess they got maybe some other ones, and they may be very good too. Okay, but I'm just saying you guys are in a great area here to take advantage of some of that stuff. And oftentimes their services are free. The best way to find the one that's closest to you, you can either go to DLA's website, Defense Logistics Agency, because they're responsible for it, or Association of Procurement Technical Assistance Center, APTAC, APTAC, just Google that. They got a map of the United States. You click on the state you're in, and it'll list all the ones that are in that state, where they're located, all their contact information. Of course, use the websites that all the agencies have. They're out there. This is our website, by the way, when you go to it, www.mda.mil. To get to my webpage, see the green box there? In the middle of it, I know you can't read it, says Small Business Programs. Click on that. That'll come up. Forget the video with the ugly face in it. But anyway, there's how you register in our directory. You'll see the OSBP directory on the left side there where that arrow is. They'll bring you to the web page on the right side. Click on register. Now, I'll warn you, you're going to need a PhD. So if you don't have, you can go to school and get your PhD, because you're going to need one to figure out your password. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Don't blame me. It's a DISA requirement. I can't help that. Of course, if you don't like the one you picked, you get to change it every 90 days. Please update your information in there too. Because when we send out those emails and we get return stuff because maybe the person you had in charge of it is no longer in the company or stuff, we start deleting you from the system. So make sure you keep it updated. You should review at least once a year. And that's about all the news that's fit to print. Any questions? Apologize for running over a little bit. We got started a little late, but hey, what the heck? Well, you've been a great audience, you know. And we have the table upstairs. We got a lot of great information, including, just for you guys, since you've been such a good audience, we have a party gift for you. We have all the small business offices' contact information in Huntsville, Alabama. So if you come down there for, let's say, our annual small business conference that we're having, MDA's having on the 21st and 22nd of June, you can find that in our quarterly published, the latest published of our newsletter on our website, or we have the information upstairs about how to register for that. If you come down there, I'll even give you a sheet of all the small business offices, some of which will be at the conference, but you can make the trip worthwhile and go around and meet everybody, talk to them. How about that? See, aren't you glad you came? Ooh. And we have another special prize for you that you'll have to ask Mr. Rogers over here for, and you'll get a special prize. Just say, hey, I was sitting in there and I want the special prize. And then you'll see what that is. All right, any questions? I believe I'm getting the hook here, so I'll bow out gracefully or I'll trip or something.